Key point 1. Read people like a book. Nonverbal communication, often called body language or nonverbal cues, involves sending messages through gestures, body movements, posture, and other forms of expression that do not rely on verbal speech. It is often considered the most honest form of communication because people don't realize they're sending nonverbal cues. As a result, intelligence agencies use it during high-profile investigations to gain insight into people's true feelings, motivations, and thoughts. In his book Emotional Intelligence, Daniel Goleman asserts that people who understand nonverbal communication will enjoy happier relationships and be more successful. One of the fascinating things about nonverbal behavior is its widespread applicability, offering reliability and universal appeal. Once you can interpret a specific nonverbal behavior, you can use it in many different ways and circumstances. Look at people's arms and legs to detect if they are lying. Liars tend to gesture and move their bodies less. Despite the widespread use of texts and video calls, in-person meetings are still important today. Face-to-face communication allows people to see and express nonverbal signals that are impossible to fully convey through screens. Developing the ability to pick up on nonverbal cues enhances environmental awareness, elevates social intelligence, and fosters more effective communication. This summary will provide the fundamental communication principles for interpreting nonverbal cues, followed by insights into diverse body movements and their meanings. The best part is that you can apply what you learn here to any situation or setting. Key point 2. 6 essential tips for success. As you practice, you will be able to interpret others' thoughts, feelings, and intentions. Now let's discuss some essential principles to help you better understand nonverbal cues. Over time, these 6 principles will become second nature in your interactions if you incorporate them into your daily routine. First commandment: be an attentive observer of your surroundings. Second commandment: context is the key to understanding nonverbal behavior. Third commandment: identify and interpret universal, nonverbal behaviors. People often exhibit similar body movements that express their feelings. For example, tightly pressed lips generally signify discomfort or upset, a gesture known as lip compression. Nonverbal behavior reveals human nature, regardless of language or culture. Fourth commandment: recognize and decode unique nonverbal behaviors. The better you know someone, the easier it is to understand their behavior. If your teenager scratches their head and bites their lip before a test, they might be nervous or unprepared. Fifth commandment: establish baseline behaviors when engaging with others. You can learn more about the typical behavior of people you regularly interact with by observing how they usually sit, stand, use their hands, position their feet, and express their emotions. It can help you distinguish between their regular and stressed behavior. Sixth commandment: always watch people for cluster behaviors or actions occurring in succession. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. Joe Navarro: your ability to read people will significantly improve when you train yourself to observe multiple body signals. Generally, the more signs you can interpret, the deeper your understanding of people becomes, as humans always give out many subconscious signals. Did you know? The word goodbye was originally a short form of God be with ye. Key point 3. The secrets your feet and legs keep. Are you aware that there is a specific body part that can reveal a person's genuine emotions, making it essential for nonverbal communication? Surprisingly, it's the feet. In studying body language, most people begin their analysis from a person's face and work their way down. But Joe Navarro's technique takes the opposite approach. With his vast experience conducting interviews at the FBI, Navarro has found that he gains better insights by observing the person's feet and legs, then gradually moving up to the face. There are many nonverbal behaviors associated with feet and legs, including happy feet. This term describes how people wiggle their feet in excitement when something pleasant happens. This body movement indicates that people are getting what they want or are in an advantageous position. Knee clasp. This sign indicates that someone is about to leave their current location, virtually or physically. In meetings, when someone places both hands on their knees, they are ready to go or disagree with what's being said. Additionally, when someone leans forward with their hands on their knees or moves to the edge of their seat, it is time to end the gathering. Whenever you shift your feet in response to something you hear or see, you let others know you are triggered. Did you know there are over 6,000 spoken languages in the world today? Key point 4. Detecting the first signs of cracks in your relationship. Now let's explore the abdomen, hips, shoulders, and chest, collectively known as the torso or trunk. Like the legs and feet, the torso often unveils genuine emotions. The following are significant nonverbal behaviors involving the trunk. The torso lean. The torso will instinctively lean away in the face of fear or stress. This subtle movement can help gauge if someone feels threatened or endangered in your presence. Ventral denial and ventral fronting. Your ventral side refers to the front of your body, where your head and chest are. This part of your body is extra sensitive to your likes and dislikes, unconsciously exposing this side to what feels safe and positive, while turning away from discomfort is a natural inclination. If this happens frequently in romantic relationships, it might signal issues with your partner. Your body communicates through nonverbal cues, often providing signs long before your conscious mind catches on. Shoulder shrugs. This response is a common one. When a person fully shrugs, they are committed to their response, while a slight shrug often implies partial or zero commitment. It's worth noting that cultural differences can influence the interpretation of shoulder shrugs. The problem is that most people spend their lives looking, but not truly seeing. Joe Navarro. Key point 5. Be the first to spot abuse. Arms often go unnoticed when it comes to observing body language. Most people pay more attention to the face and hands, not realizing that the arms can also convey emotion. This reality is especially true when observing signs of comfort, confidence, and fear. Here are a few nonverbal behaviors involving the arms. Gravity-related arm movements. The arms move effortlessly and energetically when a person is thrilled, often reaching high above the head. In most cases, this is a learned behavior that occurs almost unconsciously. Similarly, if you tell a colleague about their costly mishap at work and see their arms and shoulders fall, you will know they are experiencing a limbic reaction. These limbic reactions are both authentic and immediate. When people feel on top of the world, they throw their arms in the air, and when things don't go as planned, they let their shoulders drop. These behaviors communicate emotions accurately and at precise moments. To express warm feelings towards someone, touch them between the shoulder and elbow. Arm withdrawal. It is common for people to withdraw their arms when they are scared or upset and bring them to their sides when they are hurt, abused, worried, or threatened. Some people hold their arms across their chests in such situations. This survival tactic helps protect the individual when they sense an actual or perceived danger. Restriction of arm movement. Limiting arm movements, known as arm freezes, can be particularly alarming, especially in children. Navarro and Carlins found in their research on child abuse indicators that abused children often limit their arm movements in the presence of abusive parents, caregivers, or other threatening figures. This behavior is an evolutionary survival tactic, as many predators utilize motion to hunt. Abused kids often stay still to avoid drawing the abuser's attention. Therefore, a child's limbic system naturally adjusts to minimize arm movement to avoid negative consequences. Observing an arm freeze in a child can be a crucial sign of abuse. Consider looking into this issue if you notice this behavior when a specific person is around. Key point 6. Create a strong impression of yourself. Hands are very expressive and serve various functions, such as sign language, storytelling, and revealing thoughts. They are unique to humans and can outclass those of any other species in their versatility. Thus, hands can perform intricate tasks and convey the brain's subtle signals. Understanding hand movements is crucial for decoding nonverbal communication, as these actions consciously or unconsciously mirror the mind's guidance. Keep your hands visible in serious conversations to avoid creating a negative impression. Here are some ways you can change interpersonal perception with proper hand movements. The power of a handshake. Many people around the world use a handshake as their first physical greeting. Although there are slight variations from culture to culture, the strength and extent of handshakes affect how the other person perceives you. Handshakes leave a lasting impression of the kind of person you are. A classic example is shaking the hand of a soldier after the encounter. You know you've just greeted someone trained for war. Avoid using offensive hand gestures. Certain gestures, like finger pointing, can be perceived as disrespectful in many cultures. This gesture can often lead to conflicts in schools and prisons. As a parent or caregiver, refrain from pointing at a child during discussions about their behavior. It can distract the child from your message. Similarly, finger snapping is generally considered rude, often associated with getting a pet's attention. Conclusion: communication is primarily based on words, signs, and body language. While most understand spoken and some delve into sign language, the ones who can interpret both and decode nonverbal cues are the real trailblazers. The goal of this summary was to equip you with the skills to swiftly read people through their body language, offering practical tips for effective observation. But don't assume you've grasped these tips just because you completed this summary. Be sure to revisit these tips in the future. More importantly, begin putting what you have learned into practice. Let's review some of the best practices for reading people. Be a keen observer of your environment. Train yourself to start monitoring even the not-so-obvious events around you. Cultivate your environmental awareness by keenly observing subtle occurrences. Decode emotions by studying people's reactions in various situations. How do your friends act when they tell you a sad story? How does their body language change when excited, hopeful, or anxious? Observe your friends first, then apply this skill to interpret strangers' emotions. Soon, you'll get better at it. Try this. Enhance your ability to read people by partnering with an observation buddy. Without warning them, try to predict their moods and thoughts. Once you're pretty good at it, start practicing on people you're not so close to, even strangers.